After 9 weeks of absolutely phenomenal racing action with the iRacing.com World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship, all roads lead to the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is the home of the finale for the 2020 campaign, where Alex Bergeron carries a 34-point advantage over the rest of the competition in pursuit of his second sprint car title in a row. Hello and welcome everyone to Charlotte, North Carolina, and tonight one of 3 drivers will be leaving here with $10,000 and the glory that comes along with a World of Outlaws championship title. We are so glad that you could join us here on the iRacing Esports Network. My name is Chase Rodman alongside Justin Prince, and tonight a very special guest joins us, the voice of the real-life World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. Johnny Gibson is here to deliver the most famous words in sprint car racing.
iRacing.com, you wanted the best. Tonight they compete in the ultimate championship test, often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink World Championship.
Great to have Johnny Gibson in here with us, Sir Justin Prince. And Justin, 10 weeks of this series, and it's come down to this. One of the closest battles that we've ever seen here in the iRacing sim as far as this championship goes for the sprint car side of things. Bergeron just 34 points ahead of David Heilemann and a few more back as James Edens. We're really excited to see how this thing kicks off here.
Yeah, anything can happen these next few minutes or so when it comes to the racing action here at the dirt track at Charlotte tonight. Such a phenomenal season with back and forths in terms of victories. Just 13 total points paying positions separate Bergeron from David Heilemann entering this final round of the campaign. The magic number, 13th or higher at the moment for the feature race tonight. Keep that in mind as the night progresses.
Alex Bergeron, if David Heilemann wins tonight's feature, Alex Bergeron must finish 13th or better, and that is before we calculate the heat race points. So there's the championship standings right there. The top 3 guys are the ones that are eligible to win this thing. Kendall Tucker back and forth, a little bit too far back to gain points on these guys. And, you know, Justin, we're coming off the heels of a pretty exciting race last week. A little bit of drama between the top 2 guys in the championship standings last week at the Williams Grove Speedway. And as you can see on your screen right now, this is coming to the white flag. Last week at Williams Grove Speedway, see a little contact there between the 49 of David Heilemann and the 12 car of Alex Bergeron. And down here in 3 and 4, Justin's where it's get really exciting.
Yeah, it got really dicey right about here because right at this point where they make this little bit of contact, this was about a 6 to 9 total point swing and 3 positions lost in the span of a corner for David Heilemann. That gave a bit more cushion space for Bergeron entering tonight. It's going to be entertaining to see how this race plays out this evening and who can come in with the checkered flag after some of the fireworks in round number 9.
Yeah, here's another replay of it. There's a little contact there on the front stretch between the 49 of Heilemann and the 12 of Bergeron. And as Justin just alluded to, they come down here. It looks like Heilemann might have missed the bottom a little bit, but definitely the 12 car Bergeron drives it a lot deeper than the 49. They make some contact right there. And then after the race is where the sparks really started to fly, Justin. David Heilemann in the interview, he about lost it and said, you know, he said a whole bunch of things. You can go back and watch the replay, but he basically said he is bringing the championship home to America here tonight. And he said that because the first champion of the series, Tim Ryan, he was from Australia. Alex Bergeron, the defending series champion, he's from Canada. And so David Heilemann is trying to bring this thing home to America tonight.
Yeah, and as you can see based on the win chart as well, he's the highest ranked driver in the standings who hasn't even won a feature race in 2020 so far after a couple of wins in his series career. So it's going to have to be the point where you break that teeter-totter that we've been talking about the past couple weeks between Alex Bergeron and James Edens. It's been like that all season, and if you follow the teeter-totter pattern, if it follows suit, Bergeron would be the one who sits in that final edge for the final round. But anything can happen tonight. That's the thing, Chase.
Now, you might be looking at those winners right there and wondering how the heck is James Edens not leading the points? How is he not second in the points? Well, first race at Volusia Speedway Park, James Edens went 1 lap down, finished dead last in the feature. Then a couple weeks later, the second round that we went to at Lernerville on April 27th, he lost connection to the race, running inside the top 5, and so that has put James Edens down to 3rd in the standings. Let's take a look at how you accumulate points throughout the night of racing here. As we talked about, 34 points is the gap between Alex Bergeron and David Heilemann, and I think it's 38 points back to James Eden. So 8 points for winning a heat race, 1 point for 8th place in the heat race, and then you see the main event points there, 70 to win, 23 for 20th. A grand total of 78 points can be made up in a night here. And so after the heats, we're going to have to try and do little calculations here, Justin, and see what exactly the standings will be here heading into the feature.
Yeah, it can get pretty interesting because depending on where some of the top drivers we're just talking about finish, it could be the difference between needing to be inside the top 10 for Bergeron by the feature race tonight, or being able to finish mid-pack and still being able to clinch the championship. That is still fairly decent track position. You could already see in qualifying, Bergeron just 10th, Dylan Hauser, the fastest driver in the entire session.
Yeah, Dylan Hauser, quick time here tonight in car number 2. Great job by him. Dylan Selman was second. Quick Tyler Ducharme, James Tiernan, John Batista, fantastic run there in 5th. And David Heilemann, the 3 championship contenders. He is the highest qualifier right there in the 6th spot. And here we go. Here is the first heat race lineup. It's going to be Dylan Hauser on the pole, and alongside him is the 54 car of John Batista. Row 2, the 9 of Joel Berkeley, and on the outside of him is the 11 of Cole Newhalfen. Row 3, Cole Cabry and the 74 car of Adam Elby. And then on the 4th row, all by himself, will be the 35 car of Nick Cooper back there in the 7th starting spot here. So no championship contenders here in this first heat race there, Justin. But really, you got to think of these guys that are battling kind of farther back mid-pack in the championship. The top 15 guys in points at the end of tonight, they will retain their pro license and automatically qualify for this series in 2021. And there's a couple guys here in this heat race that are going to be trying to maintain that top 15 position.
Yeah, Adam Elby, for example, 6th for this first heat race. He's amongst some of the drivers around that bubble inside the top 15. So it's going to be important they get good runs here tonight. Mind you, this is a track that is known for some great racing, both in real life and on the sim, with it being 3 lanes wide and being able to run not just to the bottom line, but as well, the cushion along that outside wall can potentially work itself in, and maybe the preferred line, in fact, once the track slickens.
No doubt about it. This place puts on a great show. It is the home of the World Finals, the final race of the year for the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late models, along with these cars, the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. This is where they cap off their season, so we're doing the same thing here in iRacing.com. The pace lights are out on top of the pace truck, and he'll pull into the infield here on the back straightaway and leave the field in the hands of Dylan Hauser, that Slick Sim Sport JDR Graphics number 2 car. And to his outside, the best starting spot in a heat race for this driver all season long, the 54 car of John Batista. He's got a shot to maybe win this first heat race. And remember, we talk about it every week there, Justin. You win this first heat race, you are on the pole of the 35-lap main event, and that is oh so critical at a place like this. The green flag is in the air, and Dylan Hauser going to lead the field for everyone.
First of the 10-lap heats underway as Hauser already up to the cushion. Batista trying to slide to the middle line. Hauser goes for the defense. Batista slides to the bottom of the racetrack. Contact, and in the wall behind him is Berkeley. Everyone else gets through cleanly on the first lap.
Another big mishap for Joel Berkeley. Not very good to see him. The 9 car cannot seem to catch a break here these last couple weeks, but up front it is his teammate, the 2 car of Dylan Hauser, leading this thing, coming around turn number 4. He'll lead lap number 3. John Batista still in the 2nd spot. Then it's going to be Cole Newhalfen in 3rd, and making his way up into a transfer after starting 6th, the 74 car of Adam Elby. He has made his way up to P4 and going to challenge these guys here, possibly for a top 3 finish by the end of this thing. Still not even halfway through this thing. 4 laps in and 6 to go.
Hauser preferring the middle line, meanwhile, up at the front of the field. Batista still electing to go all the way up to the cushion, this time to the bottom side in 3 and 4. Following them is Cole Newhalfen. Newhalfen closes up the gap. Now about 1 car length of difference between each of them amongst the top 3 coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, top 3 nose to tails. They make their way back into turns 3 and 4. Hauser in the middle of the racetrack. Batista went about a lane lower right there in turns number 3 and 4. Cole Newhalfen right there as well. Adam Elby still on the bubble spot. A great battle back behind him for the 5th position between the 35 of Nick Cooper and the 71 of Cole Cabry. Up front, your top 3 are keeping it nice and clean, but look at this battle here between Cooper and Cabry down the front stretch.
Everyone up towards the cushion. Still Cooper trying to close up the gap to Elby. About 6 car lengths now between them down the back straightaway. Batista still following the tire tracks of Hauser. Up back along the top side, back along the front straightaway. 3 laps to go. Newhoff the closest to the wall in 1 and 2.
Batista takes a peek to the inside of Hauser. Can't really make anything happen that time by off of turn number 2 and up the back straightaway. It's going to be Dylan Hauser leading this time by 2 laps to go. And Cole Newhoffen right there on the back bumper of John Batista. He'll peek to the inside down the back straightaway. Race for the second spot as they head into turn number 3.
Newhoffen's trying to work on this spot all heat race long. Goes for the crosses. Batista side by side. 1 lap to go in the heat race. Hauser continues to lead. Batista tries to close up the gap. He runs the middle line as they go down the back.
Down the back straight for the final time. It's going to be Hauser protecting on the inside. Slides it up to the cushion on the edge of the turn number 4. And Dylan Hauser will get the win in heat race number 1. He will be on the pole for tonight's 35-lap main event. Second spot went to Cole Newhoffen. Third was John Batista. And fourth went to Adam Elby. Those 4 drivers will move directly into the feature event, while Nick Cooper, Cole Cabry, and Joel Berkeley will have to come out of the B main event, which will be later on tonight. As we get set for heat race number 2, as you take a look at the results there of heat race number 1, here is the starting grid for the second heat race. Dylan Semmelman out there in the Fast 4 Esports number 81 car on the pole, and alongside of him, it's the Hylomaniac, the guy that's trying to bring it home for America, in his own words there. It's David Heileman in the 49 on the outside of row number 2. And how about that? It's the guy he's battling with for the championship, the 12 of Alex Bergeron. This should be very interesting, especially after the words that were said by David Heileman following the race last week at Williams Grove Speedway. Tyler Schell's on the outside of row number 2 with Austin Silliman and Rusty Kruger on row number 3. And final starter in this one, it should be the driver that finished up second last week at Williams Grove, the 44 car of Blake Cannon. So this is going to be very interesting right here, Justin, with the 49 and the 12 car.
Yeah, both of them know the importance of trying to earn as many points as they can in this heat race to gain extra comfortability if you're Bergeron for the feature, and gaining more opportunities to close up the gap in set feature if you're David Heileman. So this is going to be very active tonight. Keep this in mind as well, Chase. We've seen in just the last heat race, third place finisher and John Batista ran out of fuel coming to the start and finish line. Fuel mileage may be something that may come up here. It did come up, remember, at Williams Grove for a couple drivers.
And it also came up at Knoxville as well during the main event. So, yeah, great point there. We'll have to see if these drivers can make it on fuel. As we mentioned last week, the series that these guys run in throughout the week is an 8-lap heat race. These heat races tonight, 10 laps in distance, which, as we mentioned last week at Williams Grove, is definitely a couple gallons worth of fuel here. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be Dylan Semmelman and the 49 car of David Heileman as they come off of turn number 4. The green flag's in the air, and a great start up front for the driver that picked up a win earlier this year at Fairbury American Legion Speedway, the 81 car of Dylan Selman. He leads down the backstretch.
Already battling 3 wide, though, for the final transfer spot for the time being. Selman with the squeeze. Cannon trying to make it 3 wide. Pinballing off of Kruger. They bounce around, heading off into turn 1. Everyone keeps it straight. Austin Selman's up to 4th.
Yeah, that was teammates getting together right there, the 44 and the 55 at the back of the field. Now Bergeron up to the back bumper of David Heileman down the front straightaway, racing for that second spot. Every point that Bergeron can get will definitely kind of hinder the progress of the 49 car of David Heileman up front, though no one's got anything for the 81 car of Dylan Selman. He is driving away with the heat race number 2 win so far.
Dylan Selman right now the fastest driver of the racetrack by about a couple 100ths of a second each and every time by the moment. Heileman, though, trying to focus on battling with Bergeron. Both run the middle line this time off of 3 and 4. Back on the front straightaway, currently having a decent gap to 4th position. Make it now about 4 car lengths.
That time by the line, David Heileman, the fastest car on the racetrack, as Selman continues to run the slider line. He enters in on the bottom of turn number 3. He gets up to the top of the racetrack on the exit of turn 4. Now Selman works the wall in turns 1 and 2 all the way around the corner as Heileman looks to try and close in, but it looks like it's not going to happen here as we come around this time by. Still 4 laps to go. Anything can happen, but Dylan Selman just looks way too smooth up front there in that Fast 4 Esports number 81 car.
He said he expected the cushion to be the fastest line throughout the night tonight, but once things get worked in, it can be very rough and the cars can bounce around. Right now, been very smooth. Bergeron has to get hard off the gas down the front straightaway as they hold it back onto the cushion through 1 and 2.
And it looks like Bergeron's just biding his time right now. I think he's a little bit better than David Heileman right now, but he does not want to push the issue and cause any kind of problem, especially after the threats that were made last week after the race. So we'll see if Bergeron pulls the trigger on the move here and tries to get another point on Heileman in the championship standings, this time by the white flags in the air for the 81 car of Dylan Selman as he heads back into turn number 1.
Dylan Selman's been a rocket ship in heat race number 2, staying along the outside cushion once more, still scrappy behind them for second spot. For Dylan Selman, one last side to defend in 3 and 4. He takes the checker flag, wins heat race number 2. David Heileman, Alex Bergeron, and as you may have seen just moments ago, Tyler Schell was able to get by Austin Selman for the final transfer spot. Settleman got shuffled out, though, from 5th on back chase at the checkered.
So that means that it'll be Blake Cannon, Rusty Kruger, and Austin Selman. That's the brother of Dylan Selman. He will be in tonight's B main. Those bottom 3 drivers, 5th, 6th, and 7th, while the top 4 will head off to the A main event here. Heat race number 3 is getting gridded up, and I know that Justin Prince is down there right now. He's got the pencil in his hand. He is calculating the points as David Heilman brings it down to 33 markers before we head into the main event. Heat race number 3, the lineup looks like this: the 25 car of Tyler Ducharme and the 00 of Kendall Tucker. Row 2, the 5 of Braden Eiler and the 24 car of Sean Timmerman on the outside of row number 2. Row 3 is Alex Smolders and the 17 of Cameron Merriman. And final starter in this one is the 80 car of Vinny Sansone. So we've got our back half of the top 5 of the championship standings here: the 00 of Tucker and the 5 of Eiler. And man, what a heartbreaker last week at Williams Grove there, Justin, for Kendall Tucker. He led a majority of the race, but then ended up hitting the wall with about 10 laps to go or so, and ultimately took himself out of that one.
Yeah, there was a strong chance he could have came away with, at the very least, a top 5 run in that race if he didn't make contact with that outside wall. But tonight, he was one of the quickest drivers in final open practice and has been looking pretty clean for a lot of the other races this season. I expect him to be very quick in this heat race with how good he was in qualifying. I think as well, though, a lot of the drivers who start in the back half of this heat, remember, are some of the drivers who need to earn points to get in that top 15.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of these guys back here, like Vinny Sansone, he needs to try and get every point that he can in that number 80 car. But you look at the guys right in front of him, Cameron Merriman and Alex Smolders. Those guys are not slouches. I mean, Merriman's got 4 or 5 top 5s on the season. Alex Smolders has shown a lot of good speed at times, just can't really put a whole night together. So these guys are going to have to come from road number 3 and get by at least one car here. I think this is going to be a really competitive heat race number 3. 10 laps to distance, once again, top 4 to the main event. It's Tyler Ducharme and Kendall Tucker leading the field off turn number 4 and down the front stretch for heat race number 3.
Off and away once more for 10 more laps of heat racing, already up to the top side. The top 3 making the top 4 up to the cushions. 3 wide for 4th position. Timmerman having to hold off Cameron Merriman as the Merriman slides his way for the crossover.
Race for the lead right there. It's 3 cars strong as Kendall Tucker threw a slider on the 25 of Tyler Ducharme. Ducharme was able to turn it back to the inside, reclaims lead. Contact nearly down the straightaway between the 5 of Eiler and the 00 of Tucker. They're all right behind the 25 of Ducharme, and here comes the book to the inside. Kendall Tucker looking for the race lead off turn number 2 and down the back stretch.
Side by side, down the back straightaway for the race lead and heat race number 3. Slide job from Kendall Tucker. Crossover attempt from Ducharme. Gets the run back side by side as Tyler Ducharme retakes the lead in 1 and 2. Eiler tries the bottom side as they now go side by side for second.
And the bottom looks really, really good, especially in 1 and 2. Slider for the lead. Give it to Braden Eiler. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Now the leader's Tyler Ducharme. Now the leader is the 00 of Tucker. He goes back to the bottom. He's followed by Eiler. They both go by Ducharme, so it looks like the bottom in 1 and 2 very, very good right now as Eiler slides up the track. But Tucker, he might have led that lap. I couldn't even tell you, Justin.
Most of the drivers back into the cushion this time. Tucker, though, prefers the bottom line. Gets clear by a car length down the back stretch. Goes back to the cushion in 3 and 4. Closing on in, though, for 3rd spot side by side. Sean Timmerman looks to move himself up the grid.
And I might have called my shot there when I said this is going to be a competitive heat race. We've got 4 or 5 cars under a blanket for the top spot. They're still sliding each other up front. Give it to Braden Eiler, but here comes Kendall Tucker. He hit the wall right there, and he's all swirly down the front straightaway. Hangs on to it, slides up the racetrack. He takes the lead 3 wide for second. What is going on here in heat race number 3? This is unbelievable stuff.
Contact for 3rd spot. Ducharme keeps it off and going. Now side by side for 4th. Single file. Don't make it side by side for the lead. 2 laps to go in heat race number 3. Tucker on the bottom of the racetrack. Eiler taps the wall. Everyone bunches up as Timmerman goes for a slide.
Timmerman slides to the grass, hangs onto it, but he's going to fall all the way back to the 6th spot. That's going to allow Alex Smolders to go by, and now he's challenged on the inside by Vinny Sansone as it looks like we're on the white flag one more time around for the 00 of Kendall Tucker as he works to the bottom, slides it up to the exit on turn number 4, and Kendall Tucker will win a spirited battle up front here in heat race number 3 over the 5 car of the 25 of Tyler Ducharme. The 5 of Braden Eiler and Vinny Sansone will come home in 4th. Behind him is Alex Smolders, Sean Timmerman, and Cameron Merriman. But wow, that was a race and a half right there in heat race number 3.
Where did Sansone come from is the first thought here. Was at the back half of the field in the final couple laps, but they were bouncing around so much for the final transfer spot. It bunched everyone up, checked them all up, and Sansone was able to keep momentum to put himself in the feature race.
Yeah, great drive right there by Vinny Sansone, that number 80 car. Great to see him put in a solid run there in heat race number 3. Heat race number 4 is on the racetrack now, and it's going to be James Tiernan on the front row after having a top 5 run last week at Williams Grove Speedway. Alongside of him, it's the defending eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion Zach Novak in the 15. Row 2's Lewis Hewitt in the 3, and James Edens, who's third in the point standings. He has an opportunity here to close in on David Heileman and Alex Bergeron here in the championship if he could somehow win this thing. Row 3's Chase Cabry and the 92X car of Mike Keegan, and then the final starter in this one should be the 91 car of Anthony Job. But we talk about NASCAR there with Zach Novak. If you're quiet enough here, Justin, you might be able to hear the NASCAR Xfinity race going on across the street.
And from what I've seen on social media all throughout the night so far, lots of noise coming from just across the highway, to say the very least. But I think we're going to see a lot of noise from the fans here at the dirt track at Charlotte in just a few moments again, because Edens needs to get some good points for the feature race tonight, has good speed. But also remember, Lewis Hewitt, one of the top drivers in this track in terms of fastest pace in its history on the iRacing service. It's going to be a heck of a battle to try and hold on to the race lead if you are Tiernan or Zach Novak.
No doubt about it. James Edens, I think all eyes are on him right now. He's got the most wins in the series, 4 times a winner in 2020 with the World of Outlaws, the NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship Series here on iRacing.com. So Edens looking for a heat race win. He's got James Tiernan, Zach Novak, and Lewis Hewitt right there, right in front of him. Also got one of his teammates, Chase Cabry, behind him, along with Mike Keegan and Anthony Job. Final heat race of the night. It should be a good one between all 7 competitors off turn number 4. 10 laps on the board. Final heat race of the night is green.
Underway for heat race number 4. Good launch for Tiernan. Already much of the field going to the middle line this time. Big bobble in the middle of the pack for Hewitt. Able to stabilize as he falls back to 4th position. Side by side already for 2nd, though. Edens trying to work the bottom side. Novak prefers the top.
We saw the bottom very good in that last heat race. James Edens goes down there to try, and he's going to get by Zach Novak and looks to track down James Tiernan, but fighting back on the top side is that 15 car of Novak. He takes a 2nd spot back as Edens works back to the grass in turns number 3 and 4, and Novak very good on the outside line right now. Edens through the middle this time. He's going to take the 2nd spot back, and they both come after James Tiernan for the lead down the back straightaway.
Edens prefers the bottom side, Tiernan preferring the top side. 3 wide for the race lead, coming off turn 4. Bit of a squeeze, 2.5 wide contact.
James Tiernan gets shuffled all the way to the back of the pack after contact with, I believe, Zach Novak right there, 3 wide for the 3rd spot. Here comes Chase Cabry. He's not even at his house. He's at his friend's house or something, running on somebody else's rig right now, Justin Prince. That's pretty impressive for him to be up in a transfer spot right now.
Earlier tonight was asking for help from Rusty Kruger to help prepare for tonight's race in somebody else's rig this evening, looking to try and send that rig into the feature race. Slides to the bottom of the racetrack, cuts off Job on the bottom side. Both clip the bit of the grass, lose a ton of momentum. Mike Keegan is currently in the final transfer spot.
Great run right now for the 92X car. Mike Keegan just ahead of him. Lewis Hewitt just tapped the wall off turn number 4. He was making sure that thing was going to move, and Lewis Hewitt, he is tracking down James Edens down the back straightaway. Hewitt, you mentioned it right before this race went green, one of the best guys as far as race pace goes here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track. He is looking for a heat race win. He is closing in on the 52 car of Edens down the back straightaway here in the closing laps.
Down to a car length and a half, coming to 2 laps to go. Back to the middle side, sliding up to the wall in turn 4. Exit, pulling off and away from No Gap back in Keegan. Both drivers elect to go in the middle in 1 and 2 this time as they separate themselves out and try and battle. Hard contact on the wall in front.
Yeah, James Edens just smoked the fence right there, but he's got the white flag coming out this time by. We'll see if he can hang on for one more lap. Lewis Hewitt right there behind him in his back pocket as they work to the top of the racetrack here in 1 and 2 down the backstretch. Edens off the fence again. He'll try and protect on the bottom of the racetrack. Lewis Hewitt trying to make a last lap move to the inside. He's going to get there, and Lewis Hewitt takes it on the last corner. He wins heat race number 4.
What a move and what a sequence of laps for Edens. 2 straight laps down the back straightaway chase. Slammed that right rear tire off the outside concrete wall, and that may have cost him what could have been a solid 8 points. Instead, just get 7.
Yep, James Edens, man, he really messed himself up right there. Obviously, it's only 1 point, but it's, a 1 point could make the difference by the end of the night. As we are now ready for the one and only B-main event tonight. Usually we have 2, but 28 cars timed in this evening. We will have a 12-car B-main that will take the top 4 drivers out of it. It's going to be Nick Cooper and Blake Cannon on the front row. Row 2 is Alex Smollers and Chase Cabry. Row 3, it's Cole Cabry, that's Chase's younger brother, and the 55 car of Rusty Kruger. 3 teammates right there there, outside row 2, and then all the way on row number 3. Row 4, it's going to be Sean Timmerman and Anthony Job, and then behind those guys, Joel Berkeley, Austin Semlin, and then Cameron Merriman and James Tiernan, who had a great qualifying effort, but he got into some contact there in his heat race while leading, and he will be at the very back of this 12-car B main, which go for 12 laps and the top 4 to the feature, Justin.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of drivers really fighting hard to make it into tonight's feature race in this grouping. Many competitors, as we talked about, who need valuable points. Blake Cannon, he's the first driver out. He's going to need to hold on to where he is on the outside front row, for example. So the amount of hunger, the amount of drivers who are going to be fighting and trying to get inside this feature is going to be immense tonight.
Yeah, there's a battle within a battle as far as the championship goes. Obviously, the battle between Bergeron, Heilemann, and Edens, but also the battle for that 15th spot in the point standings to retain the driver's pro license to qualify for next season's events here in the iRacing.com World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship Series. If you're outside the top 15, you got to go through the qualifier series and do it all over again. So none of these drivers are going to want to do that. So it's going to be cutthroat here in this B main. Only the top 4 to the main event as the pace truck pulls off, and the field is in the hands now of the 35 car Nick Cooper and the 44 of Blake Cannon. Cannon coming off the best run of the season, a second place finish last week at Williams Grove Speedway, and he finds himself in a B main here tonight. Just goes to show how competitive this series is. The green flag is out. The B main is underway down the front stretch.
Already fighting side by side, clipping the grass though on the bottom side. Nick Cooper loses the lead. Side by side now for seconds. Motors nearly smack the wall. Cooper tries to block as they go 3 wide for about 5th.
Yep, 3 deep right there for the transfer spot. Oh, Chase Cabrey almost off the fence. He got into one driver. Now Rusty Kruger tries to slide in front of Alex Smulders. That's the battle for the 3rd spot. Kruger looks to the inside. He'll take that spot away into turn number 3. Right behind those guys, contact. And Joel Berkeley gets knocked out of the way by Cole Cabrey, and they're both out of the race now.
Berkeley definitely out of contention now with some bad luck in the second half of this season, but everyone else has pulled off and away. Kruger looking to take away 3rd spot, makes contact with Smulders. They both hit the wall.
And they both continue on. That's going to allow Cole Cabrey back to the inside. Lots of drivers all over the place getting back into turn number 1. And it's the 2 teammates battling for the 3rd spot, the 55 of Kruger, the 71 of Cabrey. And behind those guys, chomping at the bit, the 211 of Smulders. And right behind him, it looks like it is the 4 car, James Tiernan, who throws a big move to the inside. Tiernan started dead last on the field, and he's nearly into a transfer spot here.
Cabrey trying to slide his way up to 3rd position just in front of them. More contact in front of them for 4th spot. Bit of a bobble, able to save it though. More contact, Turner gets hit.
Yep, Tiernan, man, his bad night just gets even worse here in the B main event. Gets knocked out of the way once again. Meanwhile, your top 2 drivers have pulled away from the rest of the field. They are out of the carnage. Great race for the 4th spot as here comes the 24 car, Sean Timmerman to the inside. Timmerman, he'll go by 2 cars in 1 and 2. He's got 3rd, gives 1 back to Cole Cabrey, but Sean Timmerman now up to 4th.
Timmerman trying to ride the cushion, nearly gets pinched off as Smulders falls back to 5th spot. 5 laps to go in the LCQ. Still up at the front. Cannon, though, drops back to 2nd. Cooper still trying to fight now in the middle line. Cannon on the bottom.
Yeah, these guys are having a great race for the lead side by side at the stripe. Give the lead to Blake Cannon that time by in that Bell Helmets number 44 car. And Sean Timmerman has a problem. He slips out of one of the transfer spots and gives it up to the 2 car, or the 211, I should say, of Alex Smulders. Now Smulders looking at Rusty Kruger, sizes him up, takes that 3rd spot away. Smulders up to 3rd, and that puts Kruger on the bubble now.
Everyone fighting hard for the bubble spot at the moment. Kruger with the slide job makes the move on Smulders. Here comes the run from Austin Silman, forced to check up, goes to the middle line this time. Slides back up at the cushion, 2 laps to go.
Oh man, this is going to get real interesting right here as Austin Selman looks to the inside, that 18 car, trying to get by Rusty Kruger and the 211 of Smulders, who bounces off the fence right there. Here comes Chase Cabrey, big move to the inside. He can't clear Selman right there as they come around to the white flag. And Smulders, he's got to make a move here in the final corner if he wants to get by Rusty Kruger down the backstretch.
Coming out of the final corner, Nick Cooper comes away with the LCQ victory. Cannon in 2nd, Cole Cabrey 3rd, and Rusty Kruger does hold on for P number 4. You talk about fireworks. We just had a bit of a soap opera breakout for the battle for the bubble spot throughout those 12 laps, Chase.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. There's going to be some hurt feelings at the end of that one right there. A lot of right rears being thrown, a lot of guys getting put in the fence. But as we mentioned, a cutthroat race there in the B main. Nick Cooper, Blake Cannon, Cole Cabrey, Rusty Kruger, the 4 drivers that put it in the show here tonight. Alex Smolders, Austin Selman, James Tiernan, Sean Timmerman, Chase Cabrey, Anthony Job, along with Joel Berkeley, and I believe the last driver was Cameron Merriman. Those drivers will have to try again next year, as once again, this is the final race of the season, so they'll have to wait till 2021 to try and prove their case that they can make it into a feature here, Justin. As we get ready for this feature event next up, it'll be the 35-lap main event, and at the end of that, we will crown a champion for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship Series. Can Alex Bergeron hang on, or can David Heilemann or James Tiernan pull a rabbit out of the hat? We'll find out here after the break.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
We're back here at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is feature time here in about 2 minutes' time. Justin, you have got the results in, and it sounds like if David Heilemann is able to win the feature tonight, all Alex Bergeron has to do is finish 13th, and he'll clinch the title, right?
Yes, indeed. Right now, the separation currently unofficially 33 points, the difference. It could get interesting how things play out tonight, but that still puts a ton of pressure for David Heilemann to come away with the victory. It's a track where he has won at before. Remember, he was the 2019 winner at the dirt track at Charlotte, while Bergeron was the 2018 race number 12 winner. So going to be very key tonight to see how 2 of the most recent winners battle it out with 20 total competitors on the track for 35 laps in this feature.
And you see on that graphic right there, needs to finish 13th or higher. Alex Bergeron starts dead in the middle of the pack. He starts 10th. And what we've seen at a couple of these half-mile racetracks throughout the year, Justin, guys will get a little bit squirrely on the start. I would be a little bit worried if my name was Alex Bergeron. Any sort of contact, as we saw at Volusia a couple weeks back, where he got taken out actually by David Heilemann, and he got sent all the way to the back of the pack. He's got to be very, very weary. He's got to be very careful and keep his eyes open, be very alert as to what's going on around him. I mean, all he's got to do is finish 13th, but one little mistake from another driver, and he could get taken out easily. Yeah,
especially with some of the intensity tonight we just seen in the B main, for example. But David Heilman's also in a similar situation with his sixth position on the starting grid, I should rather say, because that was right where they were around 3-4 wide and some points just moments ago. So it's going to be intense, I think, at the start. The track's really slicked up. Both the bottom and the top line have both worked very well so far. It's going to be interesting how it all plays out for the feature race, though, and how this track progresses.
Yeah, I don't know if they made any. It looks like the track is the same after that B main event right there. And with only one B main being ran, obviously a lot less laps on the racetrack. So it's pretty slick right now as it will start out here. This is going to be very interesting to see what line will be the one that everybody attempts to go to here. As we look at the starting grid, it's going to be Dylan Hauser on the pole looking for his first ever sprint car win here with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. Dylan Semmelman looking for his second win of the season in that 81 car. Row 2, it's Kendall Tucker and Lewis Hewitt on the outside of row 2. Row number 3, Cole Newhoffen. And there's the first of our 3 championship competitors. David Heilman in the 49 will start in the 6th spot. Row number 4 on the inside, it appears to be the 25 car of Tyler Ducharme, and the driver third in the point standings, the 52 car with 4 wins on the season, James Edens out of Santa Rosa, California. Row number 5, John Batista, great starting spot for that 54 car, and outside of him, the defending series champion, current series point leader. He's got to finish 13th here tonight in order to clinch the championship, the 12 car of Alex Bergeron. Row 6, Braden Eiler, a winner at Knoxville earlier this year, and on the outside of him, the 15 car of Zach Novak. Row 7 on the inside, driver is 74 car Adam Elby. He's out of Tracy, California, and the 85 of Tyler Schell for Elbows Up Simsport will start on the outside of him. Row 8, Vinny Sansone and Mike Keegan, the 92X, and then Nick Cooper and Blake Cannon on row number 9. And your final row, it'll be Cole Cabry and Rusty Kruger completing the 20 car field. Justin, a lot on the line here, and there's probably a lot of nerves that are going on behind the wheel of these cars.
Yeah, lots of pressure for some of these drivers tonight. Not just to win for themselves, but for their families, their sponsors, their respective teams. Just the last chance for them to show what they can do on the track tonight. I think it's going to be an absolutely entertaining one and a very cool one tonight, especially with the clouds over top for what should be an exciting final feature race of the campaign. And as we talked about, what a track for us to go at tonight with the home of the World Finals, but as well a track that many competitors love to go to on this service.
No doubt about it. Who is going to be crowned the 2020 iRacing.com World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship champion? We'll find out in 35 laps here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track. Off turn number 4, we're green for 35 here at Charlotte, and Dylan Hauser leads the field at turn number 1.
Up to the cushion already, Hauser on the outside. Dylan Sunderman looking to rip the cushion as well. Going down the back straightaway, slides to the bottom of the racetrack in turn 3. Clips a bit of the grass. Bit more momentum for Hauser on the top line. Closing on in right behind is Kendall Tucker as they make their way through 1 and 2 for the second time.
Slider for the lead. Give it to Dylan Selman, but Dylan Hauser turns back down to the inside. It's a battle between the Dylans up front, and Hauser's going to have the lead as they come off turn number 4, and he'll lead lap number 3. But Selman now challenged by the 00 of Kendall Tucker on the inside. We saw Tucker very good in the heat race on the bottom of the racetrack, and he seems to like it early on in this main event, especially down here in 3 and 4. Tucker really rolling the bottom nice as he pulls up alongside Selman off turn number 4.
Tucker able to clear on by. Battle for the race lead. Slide job for Dylan Sunderman. Crossover attempt from Hauser. Gets to the inside. Retakes the lead. Dylan Sunderman clips the edge of the wall. Tucker slides back to the bottom of the racetrack. Top 3 go up to the cushion. Sunderman tries to aim up the pass. Elects to go back into the cushion once more in 1 and 2. 3 wide though for P4.
And here comes James Edens trying to make his way forward. Oh, contact in Heilemann. He gets hit by his teammate Lewis Hewitt somehow. He hangs on to the race car but loses 2 spots off at turn number 3 and 4. And the next car to pass him is the 85 of Tyler Schell and the 12 of Alex Bergeron. The best of the 3 competitors in the championship, the 52 car of James Edens. He's up to 5th as he looks to track down the 3 car of Lewis Hewitt. But a 4-car train up front, all on the top of the racetrack here at Charlotte.
And a lot of drivers I spoke with tonight expected the top line to be the fastest line for the top 3 or 4 competitors. That's the way it's gone. Bit of trouble, though, for the 5 machine to the back of the field. He's still rolling. We stay green.
Braden Island with some kind of problem back there. How about the race for the lead? Here comes Dylan Selman. He ripped the top down right there in turns 1 and 2, trying to track down the 2 car of Dylan Hauser. Hauser in pursuit of his first ever iRacing.com World of Outlaws victory. He's got one with the late models. The caution is out. And it looks like it is for Braden Eiler here. It's for the 3 car of Hewitt.
Yeah, Lewis Hewitt flipped onto his side, was just in that battle for the top 3, had tried to go for the slide job, I think, for P number 3, made contact with the car behind him and Kendall Tucker, and now he's having to go to the pit lane a bit.
And here's a replay of what happened. It looks like Tucker saw the slider coming. He tapped the brake, tried to go to the inside, but just kind of mistimed it right there and caught the rear bumper of Lewis Hewitt and turned him head on into the wall. I really can't place blame on either of those drivers. Hard racing, and Tucker just kind of mistimed it just a little bit right there, and it was just enough to catch the back bumper of Hewitt and turn him right in the wall.
Yeah, he tried really hard to keep off of him that time, just with how close the racing can be and how much momentum there is. If it just wasn't for that little extra bit of a pivot, might have been able to keep on 4 tires as well and keep it on rolling instead. Going to be way deep in the field now and has already lost 2 laps under this caution.
Update on your championship competitors. James Edens is up to 4th. David Heilman runs 6th. And Alex Bergeron has moved up from his 10th place starting spot. He is in the 8th position. Biggest mover so far, probably the 74 car of Adam Elby. 13th up to 9th currently for that Swindell Speed Lab driver.
Yeah, some really good speed so far from Edens. Absolutely. He's been fairly aggressive while doing so, while keeping it clean. That's the important part. Having controlled aggression to cut their way through the field. Keep in mind, Heilman and Bergeron have been playing very conservative tonight so far. They're still in 6th and 8th respectively, with Hauser still in control in this field.
And Heilman, he's got to get up on the wheel. He needs to get going like right now. He needs to start passing cars, throwing sliders, doing whatever he needs to be doing. He told us last week that he was going to be on a mission. Those were not the words. I will not repeat the words that he used, but he is going to be the Heilmaniac as we know him here. So let's see what happens. We're coming back to green. The green flag's back in the air, and Dylan Hauser leads the field down the back straightaway.
Heilman electing to go on the outside through 1 and 2 that time by Dylan Settleman, trying to close up the gap. Bit of battling, though, behind them for about 4th on back. Edens moves back to the cushion. Newhoffen trying to go middle. John Batista, though, trying to rip the bottom of the track in 2.
Yeah, the 54 Batista looks really good here early on in this race. 14 laps complete, and here comes David Heilman to the outside of James Edens off turn number 4. Can't quite complete the pass up front, though. It is Dylan Hauser pulling out to a 5-car length lead over the 81 car of Dylan Selman, and behind him another 4-car lengths back to Kendall Tucker. Here comes a slider out of Heilman. He tries to get in front of James Edens, but can't make the pass, and here comes Alex Bergeron right behind him.
Bit of a check up along the outside cushion in 1 and 2 this time. Newhoffen moves back to the bottom of the racetrack. Bergeron slaps the wall. He loses a spot. John Batista takes away the position. Newhoffen still right in the middle to bottom line, this time off 3 and 4. Heilman, though, still cannot get clear of Newhoffen.
A very close call that last time by down the backstretch for Alex Bergeron as he grabbed the back straightaway wall, tagged it, was able to keep on going. He's under fire from Cole Newhoffen. He goes around the outside and goes by him for about the 6th position. Now the next car in his crosshairs is that 49 of Heilman. If the 12 can get by Heilman, that might diminish what the 49's got going. That might bring his hopes down a little bit here as David is running out of laps, this time by 19 complete. Still quite a few to go as Dylan Hauser starts to extend his lead up front.
Everyone up to the cushion now this time. The fastest line, the bottom line, has slickened too much, it appears, for many of the drivers. They all prefer the cushion now. Bit of a slide job just behind them, though. Newhoffen back and forth with John Batista for 7th position. Batista just took P7 away in the 54.
Yeah, John Batista looking for his best run of the season. We'll see if he can crack that thing into the top 5. Would be great to talk to him at the end of the races here as he looks to track down the 12 car of Alex Bergeron. But up front, it appears that the 81 car of Dylan Selman, the last time by, he was 2/10 faster than your race leader. Selman's not out of this thing quite yet there, JP.
Dylan Selman, though, just bounced a bit off into the wall in front of him. Kendall Tucker, though, holds on to 3rd. Heilman with the slide job trying to get clear by James Edens. Edens takes it back, though, down the front straightaway. Edens back up to the cushion. Heilman trying to dime in the corner. Gets a bit of a run through 3 and 4.
And if James Edens could somehow beat David Heilman one more spot, I think he would actually overtake him for 2nd in the championship, which is something like 2,000 extra bucks. So James Edens, don't count him out of this thing yet, as Heilman threw a slider on him right there. Edens turns it back down to the inside. He'll retake the 4th spot as they make it back into 3 and 4. But it looks like your 3 championship competitors has nothing for your top 3 drivers as Hauser stretched his lead out once again up front.
Currently about a 10th or 2 a lap slower than Hauser and Sullivan right now on the racetrack. This time, though, moving to the bottom side is James Edens, trying to build up momentum down there. Heilman stays alongside the wall, nearly taps the wall down the front straightaway. Edens back to the bottom in 1 and 2. Kendall Tucker rides the cushion in front of them. Heilman able to gain about a half a car length down the back.
And John Batista has closed in on Alex Bergeron. He's having a great run, as we mentioned earlier on. Batista right there behind that 12 car. If he can get by him, that'll be one step closer to a top 5 finish for that Black Diamond Motorsports number 54 car. Up front, though, here comes James Edens. He's looking to the inside of his teammate, Kendall Tucker, for that 3rd spot. Edens, if he can get by Tucker, and Heilemann cannot, James Edens might take over the 2nd spot in the championship standings, as he is running the middle of the racetrack. The only guy in the middle of the speedway is that 52 car of Edens right now.
He is trying everything he can to try and get by for that 1 spot. Maybe the difference between the 2nd step on the podium for the championship and the 3rd step. Edens, good momentum through 1 and 2. Tucker alongside the cushion, side by side for the 3rd position. Edens tries to run the middle, still can't carry enough momentum to clear on bias. Heilemann now goes side by side.
And these were the 3 drivers battling it out last week at Williams Grove. They put up a heck of a battle there, and they're going at it once again for the 3rd spot here tonight at the dirt track at Charlotte. This time by 6 laps to go. Up front for the 2 car of Dylan Hauser. He's out to over a 2nd advantage over the 81 car of Dylan Selman, but we cannot take our eyes off this battle for the 3rd spot between the 52, the 00, and the 49 car as they work down the backstretch into turn number 3. What a battle these guys are putting on for the fans here at Charlotte.
Edens is trying to do everything he can still, but as many drivers talked about, if the track slickens up too much in the bottom groove, you can lose too much momentum by trying to ride along it. That's the only open line to make a pass. Heilemann tries to send it hard for the slide job, makes 2 passes in 1 corner, crossover back, 2 positions immediately lost backward.
We call that 2 for the price of 1 down in the corner. David Heilemann went full send, but it didn't work out. He loses more ground than he actually gained there. Heilemann now about 5 car lengths behind that battle between the 00 and the 52 car. We're coming down to 3 laps to go. This time by for your race leader, Dylan Hauser. He's looking for his first ever World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series win. If he can hold on for 2 more laps, he'll get the job done.
Each driver keeping it nice and clean in these final 2 laps here. Edens still trying to find any way he can around Tucker for the 2nd step on the podium for the championship. Tucker bumps around, taps the wall. Edens with the run. Here comes Heilemann. Both fall through contact for the 3rd position. Both of them lose momentum. Tucker holds on to 3rd. White flag is out.
White flag is out for Dylan Hauser down the back stretch into 3 and 4 for the final time. The JDR Graphics Slick Sim Sport number 2 car. Career victory number 1 with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series goes to Dylan Hauser tonight. 2nd is Dylan Selman. 3rd to Kendall Tucker. And 4th to James Edens. 5th to David Heilemann. But for the 2nd year in a row, $10,000 goes to the 2020 champion with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series on iRacing.com. The 12 of Alex Bergeron does it for the 2nd year in a row, and he plays it safe here tonight, comes home with a 6th place finish. But nonetheless, Bergeron's going to burn it down on the front straightaway, and rightfully so. He does it once again. Justin, what a season. What a season for the 12 of Bergeron here.
Absolutely extremely consistent, keeping out of trouble much of the way. He's been wicked quick throughout every single race throughout this campaign. What a way to go back-to-back in tonight's race. Played it smart, kept it conservative, and kept it clean to secure back-to-back titles.
Didn't buckle under the pressure one bit, as you see Hauser and Bergeron nose to nose on the front straightaway as the race winner and the race and the series champion. And now, well, okay, I don't know what was going on there, but Hauser, Selman, Tucker, Edens, Heilemann in the top 5 at the end of this one tonight. Bergeron, Batista, Newhoff, Rusty Kruger from dead last up to 9th. What a run for the 55 car. Nick Cooper, the 35 machine, he came from 17th to 10th. And then behind them, rounding out the rest of the field, Vinny Sansone, Cole Cabry, Blake Cannon, Tyler Ducharme, Adam Elby, Zach Novak, Tyler Schell, Mike Keegan, Lewis Hewitt, and Braden Eiler rounding out the field, 28 laps down in that number 5 car. But once again, what a season this was. I think that this was by far the most competitive season that we have seen with this championship. Obviously, the first year, Tim Ryan was the champion. Bergeron was pretty close to him. But as far as the different winners, the amount of different times we saw a winner, 3 guys in the championship at the end of the season, it doesn't really get much better. There was a lot of drama throughout the year. A really, really good series to follow along with. And we're not done yet, man. A couple weeks from now, Justin, we fire off with the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series Championship, which last year came down to the last race, and there was about 9 points separating the top 3. So we're expecting a great series for that as well.
Should be absolutely entertaining, absolutely. And some of the drivers, remember, from this series this year, trying out sprint cars for the first time and seeing how they do in that. Some drivers, remember, were surprised on how well they did. Guys like Cannon, Tucker, some of those drivers, though getting ready to go back towards their preferred car in the late models. Completely different racing style. Should be completely fun, though, to see who can come out on top, bumping and banging.
No doubt. Last year, I think that was my favorite series to follow, was the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late model series. And, you know, this is a stat that I don't have all the exact numbers on, but when I say that this series is competitive, it is because I think that about 4 drivers made every single A main this year. 4 drivers, that is it. That, in my opinion, JP, is a pretty competitive series if only 4 guys can make every race in a 10-race series.
That is absolutely competitive, and it was the same case for the Sprint Car Series this year as well. Drivers said it was the most deep field they were expecting in the series' history. Expecting the same thing for the late models in 2020. It's going to be very intense. It's going to be very competitive for those drivers in the next couple weeks or so after what was a competitive time just to make it into the feature races for this series.
Absolutely. Let's talk to our winner here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track. Dylan Hauser, car number 2, gets the job done. Dylan, you've been very good all year long, have had some hiccups along the way, losing the pro license, having to gather it back in, missing a race or two, but tonight all of those hardships pay off, and you absolutely dominate this race tonight. Nearly 2.5 seconds was the lead at the finish line over Dylan Selman. A great run for you tonight, man.
Yeah, it really was. You know, after Volusia the first week, I missed a feature, and you know, everyone knows I'm a top 5 guy in sprint cars when I put the time in. So once I missed the feature at Volusia, you know, it's almost like you're out of the championship, and it's tough to want to turn laps knowing you're pretty much out there racing for wins, and it's hard to race for wins with these guys because they're all so good. And yeah, I mean, we won tonight. We everyone knows I'm just my best track, whether it's late models or sprint cars. So it's not really unexpected. Charlotte, Eldora, I mean, I'm nuts at both of them. So the setup was on point tonight too. I got to thank David. I turned actually quite a few laps this week because I wanted to go out with the bang because I feel like, you know, I let some people down this year in Sprint Car Pro because I was one of the favorites going into it. But you know, just been focusing on late model stuff really the past few weeks, just getting that stuff dialed in. Everyone knows I'm a late model guy before a sprint car guy, so I really look forward to late model championship this year. I feel like this is the best we've ever been, and I just look forward to going into it.
Well, you now join an elite group of drivers that have won in both the World of Outlaws sprint cars and the late models. That is a pretty incredible feat, especially with how many good drivers there are in both series, but especially the late models, what we saw last year with 6 or 7 different winners. But that's pretty cool for you to be able to win both a sprint car world championship race and a late model race as well.
Yeah, it's like I said, the race at this level of competition is extremely tough because you go over here and you got like the 4 or 5 guys that are really good in sprint cars. But I feel like in sprint cars, there's like 4 or 5 guys. Then we go to late model side, and there's like 15 guys on any given night. So, but I feel like this year, I mean, unless we get a physics update, we're going to be extremely good. I mean, we're going to be good. So, I just really look forward to it. So I've been super excited about. I was excited about sprint cars tonight, and so glad we got the win. It's been a rough season, but to pull it off on the win just means a lot. My team, they put so much work into it, and then David ran second in the point. So. I wanted to see him win that championship bad, man. But it just wasn't meant to be this year. And hopefully next year I'm up there with him fighting for the championship.
You mentioned your team. You mentioned a couple of guys behind you. Who are some of the sponsors on that number 2 car for getting the job done here tonight?
Oh yeah, everybody at Slick Sim Sport. David, man, he pretty much built the set single-handedly all year long for sprint cars. And anybody that knows, it takes a group effort to get these things at the level we race at. So got to thank him, Joel Berkeley, Tyler Ducharme, Lewis Hewitt, JDR Graphics for the paints, and just everybody that helps us. We couldn't do it without you. And thanks iRacing and the World of Outlaws for putting this whole deal together. It's been a great series, and happy holidays to everybody.
Dylan Hauser, the driver out of Ocala, Florida, picks up the win tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track. but the 2020 iRacing.com World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship driver for the second year in a row is Alex Bergeron. Alex, all you had to do tonight was finish 13th or better if David won. He ended up 5th. You were right behind him in the 6th spot. You had a couple of iffy moments where you got in the wall and got a little bit sideways, but you kept your composure, you kept it together, and you are a two-time champion of this series, and you get $10,000 to go along with it.
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, right in front of us, we had the battle going on for the second and third place in points. So it was very hard to just pass these guys. They were battling very hard, also with Tucker there. So I knew I just had to hit my marks and just stay in the race, not make any mistakes, and it worked out for us. I mean, we didn't have a good qualifying effort, but in the end, we were able to capitalize from it and stay inside the top 10.
Can you believe that you are now a two-time champion of this series? Obviously, this one came a lot harder than the one did last year. I mean, this year you didn't even have the most wins in the series. You had 3. James Edens had 4. This year was no cakewalk for you, especially with the problems that you had back at Knoxville where you lost connection. I mean, this year was really competitive, and it was really drama-filled, it seemed like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also for Knoxville. We're passing for a lead there on Eiler, and connection went out. It also went out tonight for some reason. I don't know why, but it's where it comes down always on Mondays. But we're able to just stay on track, and I'm grateful we're able to stay on track, like I said. So, we had a lot of bad luck during the season, but we got 3 wins in the championship, and it was a hard season, but also a fun one.
Well, with all of this success, it's no secret. We've seen it all over Facebook and Twitter, that the articles about you. Winning these championships is not just, as far as iRacing goes. The credentials go farther. When the World of Outlaws had their pro invitationals on the iRacing.com service, a lot of those guys came to you. Winning this championship, there's a lot more that goes along with it. It's pretty cool to see you helping out guys like Logan Schuhart and multiple others along the way.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to help these guys out. It's a whole another world. These guys are top notch, and it's fun to work with guys that are in top level in real racing. To bring them on here and help them all out, and we definitely had a good time helping them out, and they did super great results. They did awesome during the Pro Invitational series, and definitely never gonna forget that.
Well, Alex, who are some of the sponsors on the side of that 12 car that have brought you a second NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series championship title?
Oh, definitely. I got a huge list, but first off, Team ABR Sports, the whole crew, Jason Nygaard, Rebecca, we worked so hard, and to be able to get another championship win here tonight after 10 weeks, it's awesome and unbelievable. Like I said, we worked super hard, and yeah, we had some bad lucks, but we never gave up, and look, we're staying here, with a championship here tonight, so. It's because of them. They support me so much. Also my family, everyone that supports me, all the fans out there. They watch the races and they're having fun time watching it and supporting the drivers as well. But also all of our partners at CSI, all partners at Team Invari Sports. Sorry, CSI Shocks, BitLogic app, BK Designs, Smart Farm Equipments, all the other supporters as well that supports us on the team. And everyone watching tonight, my father as well, always watching, tuning in my races, cheering for the team, and you guys for broadcasting this every week, and World of Outlaws and iRacing for bringing this up. It's a pleasure to be here every week, and definitely had a lot of fun this year.
Very well said, and he's not done. There's no off-season for Alex Bergeron, ladies and gentlemen. He will be a part of the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series as well when that series starts up here in a few weeks. And our second-place finisher picked up a win earlier this year at Fairbury tonight. Another solid run for the 81 car of Dylan Selman. He stood by now with Justin Prince.
Yes, indeed, Dylan. Very fast car tonight. Started second outside front row for tonight's feature race. How are you feeling coming home with the second place finish in this one?
Oh, it feels good. Feels good to have some success at the end of the year. We were struggling kind of the last couple of weeks there, and we were battling up in points for a little bit after the February win, but then after that we kind of fell off a little bit. So it's nice to see some good results, and the car was really good early race. Threw some sliders on Hauser, but it kind of went away at the end. I was just trying to hold on.
You said you were trying to hold on there. Why was that? How difficult was the track as it continued to wear out as this feature race progressed tonight?
Oh, it for sure got super slick up there, and it's a lot of throttle control, and my car just wasn't as good late race. Kind of fell off a little bit, and yeah, I was just kind of spinning the tires a little bit too much and let Hauser get away. So I was trying to hold on to second there, and I'll take that, I guess.
Unofficially, sixth place finish in the points championship in 2020. Getting the chance to think back, how would you describe how your campaign went and how you improved as 2020 progressed?
Definitely up and down. I feel like had a good chance coming in this season. I was doing really good in officials and everything before that, but kind of fell off a little bit at the beginning of the season. There had some bad finishes and kind of mid season as well, but we got some good finishes as well. Got a win, so I feel like we can take that momentum into the next one, whenever it is, and I feel good about that.
So, where do you go from here as a driver in your sim racing career? Where's your focus now?
Um, I don't really know. Just to mess around in some other cars, I think, till the next one comes around, and see if I can get good in some other cars, maybe for next pro season, and we'll see what happens.
With that, is there anyone you want to thank before you let you go tonight?
Fast Forward Media, Fast Forward Esports for everything they do. Kyler Shaw, Michael Sellers Designs. You guys are putting this on, broadcasting it, and iRacing putting the whole series on. It's a great deal. Hauser for the win. Alex and for the championship. Yeah, well deserved. Thank you guys.
Congratulations on the second place finish tonight, Dylan.
Thank you, Justin.
Dylan Settleman coming home second tonight. Back over to you, Chase.
Yep, third place run tonight for Kendall Tucker. Kendall, obviously, I think that you have exceeded the expectations that you had for yourself at the beginning of the year with a fourth place run in the championship. Excuse me, sorry about that, but you didn't check something off the list. You didn't get that first World of Outlaws win. You were so close last year in the late models. Last week at Williams Grove, it seemed like the stars were going to align, but they didn't. You had an accident. Didn't get the win, but how would you rate this season? Fourth place in the points, your first time with the Sprint Car Series. Really not a bad year at all.
Yeah, I mean, I just it was kind of just a weird season overall. We got off to a slow start at Volusia, just got caught up in some messes, and then I don't know. I just figured we needed to get back to the late model pro mindset and just try and be as close to the top five as we could consistently. And I think we had two or three top fives on the year, and we had a lot of sixth, seventh, or eighth place finishes on the year. So the points they kind of start to fall off once you get past fifth. So we just needed to be a couple spots better every race. But yeah, it was a good season after winning the qualifier championship. You know, I kind of had some pretty high expectations. I mean, I really expected to compete and just. I thought, I mean, if we could have had everything fall our way, I mean, I didn't see no reason why we couldn't have competed for the championship all year. But we was in the hunt for about 8 weeks. Just last week, we needed to not stuff in the fence like we did. But I just got a little excited up there on the top and I was giving it all I had. That's for sure. I really wanted to get a pro win. I thought I could have got at least one this year, but that might have been our chance. And then I think week 6 or 7, we was like 20 or 25 points off the lead. We were in the points. We were leading the race and just kind of pretty much just got wrecked. So just after that week, I kind of figured it was pretty much over. We really needed to get that win, and then I don't know, but we was fast all year. We just needed a little bit more speed at every track. We'll just keep searching for it over this next year and see if we can come back stronger next year.
And it's no secret that you are a fender guy. You were on iRacing at the beginning as a late model driver. Last year finished up second with the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late model series. That series coming up, I'm not sure exactly when you might have the dates, but I know it's in a few weeks here. That series fires back off. I think you have got to be one of the championship favorites alongside your teammate there, Blake Majulis, obviously defending series champion. But looking forward to that series. I know you're very excited. Hauser sounds like he's very excited. He sounds like he's going to be competitive. This series, the late models, that is, it sounds like it's going to be absolutely insane. I'm looking at the points every week, and there's a bunch of guys that ran very well in big money races throughout the year. What are you expecting for the Morton Buildings late models this year?
Yeah, for the late models, I mean, y'all thought last year was tough. I think this year is going to be 10 times tougher. I mean, there's not really any slouches that I've seen so far through the qualifier series, and then you got the top 15 from last year. So yeah, we've been putting in some work again in the late models here the last couple of weeks. You know, me and Majulis, I'm sure we're gonna get together here. I think we've got like 2 weeks until the late models will start up. So we're gonna be at it pretty hot and heavy here, and we need to make sure we just cross all of our I's, dot all of our T's, and all that. I think I said that wrong, but I don't know. We'll see if we can. We'll be up there and see if we can, just hopefully get a win in the late models, man. We're giving it everything we've got. Just need to be a little bit better all the way around, and I think we'll get one before long.
I definitely agree with that statement. Well, Kendall, a third place run here tonight, fourth overall in the championship. Who do you got to thank for getting the job done for you this season?
Yeah, I gotta thank Kevin Swindell and all my guys over at Swindell Speed Lab, for bringing me on. They've been a really huge help for the sprint cars and stuff, getting me up to speed over the last 10 to 11 months since I've started running the sprint cars. So I can't thank them enough for everything they do for me. And K1 Race Gear, Bell Helmet, South Bay Partners, HMS Motorsport, Racing Electronics, and I gotta thank Ammo Performance. And thanks to all the guys over at iRacing and World of Outlaws for the series, man. It's awesome to get to do this every week, and I hope we get to do it again next year. So thanks to you and Justin for all these broadcasts, man. And we'll see y'all here in a couple weeks.
Well, there he is, the 00 of Kendall Tucker, third place tonight, fourth overall in the 2020 championship. Next driver up is James Edens, who ends up third in the points. And I think he definitely had a shot to win this year, Justin. 4 wins on the year, had a couple of issues throughout the season, but comes home third, fourth in the race tonight. Not a bad run, Justin. Go ahead and talk with James here.
Yes, indeed. And he was really going for that second place in the championship if he could get by for P number 3. James, first things first, talk about that battle because it was intense to try and make that pass on Kendall Tucker all night.
Yeah, it was tough. The tracks, Charlotte's really top dominant, so, I was just surprised that we were able to, work the middle like we were. So, yeah, and just every time I would get alongside him, I couldn't open up the entry, and it hurt the corner speed a little bit, and he would just have enough to pull back ahead. So, but yeah, it was a good race there. It was definitely nerve wracking. We had David right behind us, and then Alex behind him. So. Just trying to keep the car straight and not tear anybody up.
Overall, we talked about this a little bit before after you had a technical issue. One of the main things you mentioned was wanting to have fun the rest of the season. You did a lot of winning and having fun at the same time. How would you describe the campaign? 4 total victories on the campaign.
I definitely think it was good. We showed a lot of speed this year. I think big improvement from last year. I think, if we didn't have some of those issues, we could have been contending for the championship there. But, it's racing, it happens. And then, I was really working on minimizing my mistakes and, trying to do my best out there and just, not stress too much about points, because then it seems like you make more mistakes if you're worried about too many things at once.
Agree with that sentiment, absolutely. Now, where does your focus now lie? Many drivers we were just talking with going off to the late models. Where's your focus now for your dirt racing on iRacing?
Yeah, we'll be in the late model series too. So, all focus will be put onto that, and hopefully we have a little better year than we had last year. So, maybe pick up a win would be nice. But yeah, we're just going to put all our time and effort into that, and hopefully we have another season like this one.
Anyone you want to thank for being a part of your 2020 campaign?
Yeah, I got to thank Speed Lab, K1 Race Gear, Bell Helmets, Race Electronics, HMS Motorsport, all the sponsors on the team, and then all the people behind the scenes that, put this on and let us have some fun.
Congratulations on the top 5 finish tonight. Congratulations on being the series leader in victories.
Thank you.
That was James Edens coming home in 4th tonight, Chase. You're standing by, though, with someone who had an entertaining race himself and an entertaining championship battle, I believe.
Yeah, that's to say the least. David Heilman standing by now, 5th place run, 2nd overall in the championship. And David, tonight just really, it wasn't in the cards. It seemed like the track was really tough to pass on. Obviously, top dominant. James was kind of making the middle work there for a while, but really, it seemed like you just started a little bit too far back to make anything happen tonight.
Yeah, we kind of brushed the wall in like lap 2 of our heat race, and yeah, I mean, say entertaining race for sure, maybe for the fans, but yeah, I was pretty puckered up for most of it. It was like a little tag team match again with Joel and James. Once I kind of got neck coated by Lewis a little bit, that sent me kind of back, and I knew I had to get back up to the bumper of James because I knew the point situation. I just had to finish one behind him, and ended up tagging him a little bit there in 3 and 4. I knew Alex was behind us. I was trying to throw sliders and and get Alex kind of involved in our racing, but it just seemed like he was kind of playing smart behind us. Just I don't know. I had the liquor chilling for a good night or a sad night, and we kind of ended up in the middle. We held on the second place in points.
And it is an improvement from last year, David, where you ended up third in the championship.
We lost second on the last night last year, so we certainly didn't want that to happen. I feel like I know a lot of guys were rooting for me this week. I know America was this week, and on Memorial Day, I feel like I let them down a little bit, but that's a little disappointing. But can't argue with the top 5 is maybe frustrating as this championship was. I mean, we really didn't have expectations coming into it. We were not as good as we were last year coming into it at all. I just kind of figured I'd end up somewhere in the top 3 with James and Alex, and that's how it played out.
Well, obviously, a great season overall. It's kind of bittersweet, it seems like. You did not get a win. You got one last year, but this year, no wins. Very consistent all year long. But this second place in this championship nets you $4,000. So I would say not too bad of a season, obviously. $4,000, but I know you want to win really bad.
Yeah,
not just a championship, but a win in the race is what I was saying.
No, yeah, hey, good win to Dylan. He put on these boys tonight, so I was glad he at least brought one home for the team. But yeah, it's like, man, if I win that 10 grand, you know what? I'm buying a tent on the back straightaway. It costs 10 grand for the World Finals. I'm buying a tent, and everybody can come in. Anybody's invited. But now we're gonna need some help with that. Starting a GoFundMe, guys.
Yeah, I don't think 4,000 is going to get the job done, but nonetheless, 4,000 will buy you maybe some Hilo Maniac T-shirts that you could buy. So, David, a great season overall, man. You were so competitive and so entertaining throughout the year, especially last week at Williams Grove Speedway. But we really appreciate your time every week talking with us, and good luck in next year's campaign. I don't think you're in the late model series, but maybe if USAC starts up again, we'll see if you can go back to back in that deal. But thanks for the entertainment, man. Great run this year, and maybe next year you can take home this championship.
Yeah, as long as we put on a show, I'm happy. Yeah, I won't be in late models, but I can't wait to help out how I can and cheer on my teammates in that. We really felt if I could have maybe snuck away with this, we could win every championship this year, even if we had a USAC one. But just look for us in that. Thanks to Matthew Henniger and Wicked Energy Gum and Wicked Cushion for being on the car this year. Thanks to everybody behind the scenes at iRacing, Tyler Hudson. Thanks to everyone at World of Outlaws that came on board. Just keeps getting better and better every single year. So I don't know. I always say I'll never win the championship until there's no qualifying points and we get 30 green flag laps. Well, we got no Q points. We're close on DNC yellows, so can't wait for next year.
Yeah, maybe that's what you need is the DNC yellows to win the championship. We'll have to wait until 2021 to see if we can answer that question, though. But wow, Justin, what a season! I know you came on like about halfway through the year, but I know you were paying attention to the series throughout the 10 weeks. It was an incredible year. Lots of drama, as we mentioned. Lots of guys either running out of fuel, having internet connection problems, guys getting wrecked. All kinds of crazy stuff. We saw, 5 different winners throughout the 10 races. It was definitely a season that I will probably never forget here on iRacing.
It's an opportunity I won't forget either. And again, very thankful to have the opportunity to call races in 2020 for this series. It's been some of the best racing I've ever called in my time as a broadcaster of the iRacing service. It was thrilling right from the get-go with first-time winners, with great battles, with clean racing, with interesting and dynamic storylines. It had everything I think a fan can ask for and anything a broadcaster can ask for. Once again, I'd like to thank you, Chase, as well, for the help you gave me as this season went on, as everything went on and the racing can progress here in the World of Outlaws. Absolutely exceptional racing. Absolutely. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again.
Well, I couldn't have said it better much myself, but we will have you back, I'm sure, for the late model series, which You said this racing was good. I think the late model stuff is going to impress you as well. And I think that is all we have here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for watching. The dedicated viewers that have watched the last 10 weeks of this series. I know it's not quite as big as the Coca-Cola series, but I think that we have put on a great show. These drivers have done a great job every week trying to put on a competitive race and make it entertaining for you fans on the iRacing Esports Network. I've done my best trying to portray some good racing here, and Justin has done the same. Also, Randy Chineth and Jacob Seelman, thanks to those guys who called races throughout the season as well. And with that, man, we're going to shut it down here for the 2020 World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car World Championship Series here on iRacing. Until about 2 weeks' time, we fire off the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late models. We say goodbye. Everyone stay safe, and we'll see you for the late models here in 2 weeks.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world